Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be around the world. Really glad you were able to tune in for our second live broadcast from BookBaby. I'm Stephen Spatz, the president of BookBaby. And today I think we have a pretty interesting show, especially for authors who are just starting out, maybe even just starting their book, because the timing would be perfect. And wouldn't you know, the name of this presentation is Timing is Everything. And we're going to talk a little bit about the best time to market your book. So these broadcasts are going to happen on maybe a 3-week, maybe a 2-week basis. So sign up for our newsletter to be notified when our next live broadcast is going to be, right? Tentatively scheduled right now for Friday, April 16th. And the link is on this post and also on our website. So please do sign up. And if you have any questions, please type them in the comment section and we'll get to them near the end of the broadcast. All right. And with that, Carter, my loyal producer, let's skip right and go to the presentation right now, if we could. All right. So anyway, like I say, today we're going to talk about timing and when you should be starting marketing your book. So this is a little bit about me. I'm going to at least give you a little bit of information about myself. I started my professional writing career in a little town in Oregon. I was reporting on Little League games, and this small town newspaper editor said, "Yeah, I'm going to pay you a few cents a word, and you can report on the local Little League stories." So being the mercenary type I am, boy, those battles between Hubbard Brothers Hardware and Burton's Pharmacy turned into amazingly long, detailed stories, and until you finally caught on, and my column inches were shut down. From there, I later worked in my family business. We had thousands of acres of pear and apple orchards in Southern Oregon, and we developed a catalog, and that was a fun thing. But what I really want to relate to you about today is I'm a self-published author, so I do know the trials, the travails, all the interesting things that happen along the journey. So how we usually go through these broadcasts, it's about 30 minutes. I'm going to spend 15 minutes on my topics. It's going to be about self-publishing and more about marketing as well, because I think that's of particular importance to this kind of an audience. It's not going to be a BookBaby commercial, but I'm going to mention them more than a couple of times. So stand by for that. And then after we're done, I'm going to have 15 minutes for you to send your questions in. I've got even some questions that were emailed to me earlier this week. By the way, those covers that we put right here, these are done by our BookBaby designers, and they've done some gorgeous work this week. So next bit of housekeeping is this. So one lucky attendee at every event, every broadcast, is going to be selected at random and to receive a 15-minute publishing consultation with me. Last week, I had a great conversation with Harriet about her ambitious plans for her children's book series. I'll tell you, it wasn't 15 minutes, but it was fascinating. We spent almost an hour together talking about her plans. And so to sign up for this giveaway, all you got to do, share the live video post and tag a friend in the comments, and we'll announce it by the end of the broadcast. All right. So that housekeeping done. Let's go to the meat of this presentation. So, BookBaby has been around for 10 years. And it's amazing to think that that's a long time in the digital publishing world or in the self-publishing world. But, one thing that we've really tried to stress for them, along with writing a great book and doing a beautiful cover, is this. This is the truth. You've got to market and promote your own books. Nobody else is going to do it. Simply having your book listed on Amazon, that's not marketing. That's distribution, and that's important. But how are you going to find people to buy your book, to read your book? You've got to actually do that. No one else is going to, or you can hire it out. But anyway, the responsibility is yours. And I'm happy to say now, after 10 years of preaching that, I would say most self-published authors get it. They really do understand that that's part of the job. And, these broadcasts are, and my blog posts and my Weekender column really stress a lot of information on the marketing side, because we know that's important. However, once you do realize that, then there's another bit of a conundrum, because there's so much information about book marketing. What should you do? Who should you help? Why are reviews important? Things like that. It can be very overwhelming. And my job, I think, here on this broadcast and in my other things is to help simplify. So that's what we're going to do today. And there's going to be the one of the 5 W's that we're going to really focus on. And that's when. And I've got some numbers to back up what I'm saying about this. So a couple of years ago, we did a mammoth survey of the self-publishing community. I believe we had over 9,000 responses to this. And once we were able to kind of sort and settle on some of the data, we picked out the most successful authors. Now, these are people who made about 5 figures on their last book in the last 12 months. So they were doing pretty darn well with their latest book. We wanted that kind of information. So we had a bunch of these statements that said, agree, strongly agree, disagree, the whole bit. And here's the one that I think is the most important for today. The statement that we offered them was, the marketing of the book should begin even before the book is finished. By an overwhelming number, these high-earning authors absolutely agreed. 83% of them know that you've got to start marketing way before you say the end of your book. You've got to start as early as you possibly can. So that's one of the first truths. Start early, and then we're going to talk about the next thing, which is the what, all right? If we're going to start early, there are a lot of things you could be doing. Yes, I know. You need to finish your book, and you need to get it edited. So you can't spend a huge amount of time on marketing. So I've chosen 3 areas where I think you should focus on and devote 10 minutes a day, an hour a week, I don't know whatever you can spare for this, for these 3 important areas. So let's talk about those. First of all, let's focus your early marketing on networking. Now, when I say networking, I'm not talking about the after hours cocktail events that we used to have when everybody worked in offices. Remember then? You had those little funky name tags and you'd go around and pass out business cards. No, that's not what I'm thinking. I want you to think more inclusive. I want you to think about gathering people who are going to be FOBs. And that to me is friends of your book. All right. So start big. Think about writers' organizations or associations. Now, there's some great ones out there. We're members of Ally, which is a UK-based organization, but they really cover global type of events. They're a wonderful organization full of fantastic advice. Orna Ross is the head of that, and she really dispenses so much useful information. Maybe you're in a genre that like the science fiction writers, they have their own sci-fi association. Think about joining those and starting to meet people there. Get your name out there, find out people who can help you. All right. But really, this is about targeting, also individual people with some loyal and large followers. Because the people who are following them could very well be your readers. And that includes authors. I don't know anybody who just reads, books by one authors, but they like the genre, they like the style, perhaps, they like the subject matter. So authors are absolutely very open and friendly for the most part, and will help you. Are there blogs? Are there websites that you like that pertain to the subject of your book, particularly nonfiction books, that you can start commenting on, and get to know the owner and again, comment on other people's comments. Just start to mingle out there. All right. The next thing, influencers. I have to say, I'm not a real friend of that word, but I know it's important. There are people who are recognized experts. And again, I'm thinking probably mostly in nonfiction areas. It's a good idea to seek those people out, pick their brains. For the most part, I've never found anybody who's not willing to at least share some of their information, as long as you approach it in a nice way. You're not trying to steal their audience or do anything like that. Again, if you're a nonfiction writer, there could be some institutions, maybe even academic groups that you might want to join to get to know the people, other thought leaders in that area. And finally, are there journalists, perhaps who are covering the book scene that you might want to, get them interested in your book early ahead of time. But I'll tell you what it leads down to is that thing in red I have at the bottom, which is building your email list. We're going to have a whole broadcast on this very soon, just about the importance of an email list, what you can do with it, and how powerful it is. So again, networking is where you can start to fill in all the numbers for your email list. All right. So let's go to the second one. All right. This is one that I think a lot of people kind of back away with trepidation. SEO, or otherwise known as search engine optimization. Now, don't let your eyes be glazed over by this. All right. This is an important area that no one expects you to be an expert of that. I mean, we have some wonderful marketers on our staff. That's all they do. That's all they really, that's all they know. They live it. They breathe it. That's not what you have to do. All right. Spend some time learning. I mean, heck, I'm sure there is a SEO for Dummies SEO 101 type books out there. One source, I'm going to say on the BookBaby blog, there's some interesting articles about some of the key points and what you can do. All right. One part of SEO is learning about the importance of keywords. And they are, as I say, they're key to your success. The more time you spend on really thinking hard about those when it's time to do metadata and things like that for your book sale, for your book sales page. Keywords can be also phrases as well. What phrases can you do to help people find it? That's worth really spending some time on. I've been told that blogs are a fantastic way to really embody a lot of these SEO concepts. You're able to put a lot of content out there. Maybe 6 days a week you're writing your book. On that seventh day, you do a blog post on a blog that you're hosting, or on somebody else's doing guest posts. But they're a great way to again bring in all these SEO terms if you understand the basics and how to do that. And then finally, if you do have your own website or you do have your own blog, that employ being able to share links between other influential blogs or websites that are in that same area, it really will have a great effect. But again, I'm going to say it's not rocket science. It really isn't. Just learn enough to know the basics so that you're really enhancing the reach of your book's audience, being able to get people to find you. Helping them find you is really what search engine optimization is all about. And then finally this, get comfortable with social media. Now, it doesn't mean you need to spend all day on Facebook learning the ins and outs of it, but it's something that, like SEO, you don't need to worry about mastering this entire medium. Sample it. If Pinterest is something, if you have probably a photo book perhaps, or a cookbook or something like that, which has lots of graphic images, Pinterest is a great place to kind of get to know, get to share, put some, some of your images, and of course, obviously links of how to buy it. Maybe Twitter, maybe it's more of a political type situation, not nonfiction. Perhaps you need to get kind of a Twitter audience following you. And again, it's not about being a complete master of all these different types of social media platforms and the ones to come in the future. You pick and choose what feels right to you, what feels right for your book. For instance, LinkedIn, usually business books and things like that. But if I wrote a book of poetry, I probably wouldn't be terribly interested in LinkedIn. So again, think about what the audience is, how it would link up best with your book. All right. This is a place where you meet your tribe. And I subscribe to a lot of Seth Godin, the famous marketer's definition of a tribe. And he says that you only need two things to form a tribe: shared interest and a means to communicate. And then the difference between a tribe and a crowd is the presence of a leader, and the effective way to talk to each other. So this is your chance on social media to kind of have that personality of sharing things about your book to attract the kind of people who think you think could be likely readers. This is the way you identify them, and you get to start to interact, as I say, even before the book is finished. All right. Sometimes you might want to share some sections of it. Sometimes you might want to have a chat to talk about some of the characters. But again, about social media, understand it's not about you all the time. Okay, there are some authors who are not doing it well, and I watch them and they say, buy my book, I'm going to do a book. No, the best way to do that is to think of that you're walking into a cocktail party, and you're not going to just walk up to somebody and say, hi, my name is Stephen, I'm doing a book about ducks. No, you're going to join the conversation. You're going to ease yourself into it, making comments. This is about, again, getting involved with a group of people who eventually could be your readers. And there's, I think if you do it slowly and carefully, it's going to work out for you. This is about quality and not quantity of the kinds of folks. All right. Don't worry if you only have a Twitter audience of 400 people. I mean, there's some people who say that your tribe could be as small as 100, as long as the quality really is there for you. So let's sum up here. Again, market early and often. It's what our most successful authors are doing. It's their best practice. So this is something that every author in the world can, really take note of and use. Network to collect your friends of the book. All right. And again, that could be as far flung as you want, or or intimate. I mean, it could be simply going to your library and talking to librarians, but spend some time on that. Introduce people to you, introduce them to your book. All right. Invest a little bit of time to understand about just basic SEO stuff. It's going to have a huge impact on your traffic and sales. And if you want to go into it deeply, the investment of the time will be well worth it. And then finally, you don't need to master all the social platforms. Understand which ones can be the most effective and efficient for you, so that as your book is being launched, as you're doing some later marketing, that can be a platform for you that you not only do you have a good following, but you feel comfortable with, because that's an important part of this. All right. So when should you do this? Look, ideally before you even write chapter 1, but it can be done in any part of your book process. So if you're halfway through your book or 3/4 of the way your book, don't worry about it. But get started now. Get started early, so you don't have to wait for everything. So, by the way, this is my time. I need to say once again, to sign up for our giveaway, to have the consultation with me, you need to share this live video post, tag a friend in the comments, and we will be announcing a winner at the end of the broadcast. All right. So, by the way, all the folks who have been involved in this have all the information in this presentation is actually in this guide that we have, our Promote Then Publish guide. How you do it is you go to bookbaby.com, you click on the Learn tab, you click on the free guides, and you'll get a much deeper study of this whole presentation. All right. Finally, I want to end here this part of the presentation. We get a lot of nice notes, and this review came in a couple of days ago, and this is from Jason. He said he had an incredibly satisfying experience. The entire process of printing my book was a joy. Navigating through guides and information on our website, to interacting with the staff via email and phone, to watching this whole process. End result was spectacular. I was particularly impressed with the process they used to ensure my manuscript was properly formatted. Formatting is important for folks. Before printing, even though I did not pay any extra for the service. They helped me to correct page number locations, confirm that everything was done correctly. Highly recommend this company if you are considering self-publishing. I'll be writing more, using their services again, and using more of their services. So Jason, we thank you very much. So now this brings us to the most serious part of my presentation. Last time we had a discussion about how dogs wear pants. Do they stretch it out with 4 legs or just on the 2 in the front or the back? Now, this is our question about dinosaurs wearing ties, but I jest. All right. This is the point where hopefully I've got some questions to be working on, and I'm hoping, oh my goodness, yes, we do. I just clicked over into our question area, and okay, let's see. Here we go. From Marty. I'm ready to publish, but I'm struggling with who to use. I have a huge social media following because my book is about using social media for evangelism. So look, that's a great thing. Again, I don't want this to be a BookBaby commercial. We would certainly love to talk to you about your book. And I would encourage you to give one of our product specialists a call about that, but don't want it to be a commercial. Okay, so let's see. What would you say is the biggest difference between marketing before the book is complete and pre-sale? All right. Actually, there's Carla Jill had a couple of questions, so I'm going to start with this one. So, what would you say is the biggest difference between marketing before the book is complete and pre-sale? All right. So, before the book is complete, you probably don't have a lot of actual materials to share with folks. It's going to be more about themes. Hey, I'm writing about this type of this type of genre. It's going to necessarily have to be vague. It's going to be more about really kind of cozying up to people, siling up to folks, getting to know them, getting that email list put together, getting that social media following up, up till the point when you can actually launch and in pre-sale. And pre-sale, by the way, I just wrote a very long post on the BookBaby blog about it. It is, and we'll be doing a broadcast on it very soon. It is probably the most critical element of the success of a book coming out of the gate. There are things you have to do. So at that point, you want people to go to your selling pages, probably on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, any place where your book is listed. At that point, you can do things like, hey, go to my Amazon page, tell me what the third word is in the first sentence, email it to me, and you may get a prize, maybe a free autograph book, maybe a free bonus chapter of your next book. So there are ways and techniques that you can employ to kind of tighten in your marketing. Your goal for presale is to get that traffic going to the sites, going to the selling pages, so that Amazon knows, hey, look, this is an author with a lot of promise. There's a lot of traffic coming to this site. I better order plenty and have them in the warehouse. But anyway, I'll go into a lot more detail about that in a future broadcast. All right. So how important is the transition from one to the other? Again, it's going to be kind of a natural flow. Really, you probably will never stop trying to network and trying to, get more people who are friends of the book. But that pre-sale marketing is going to be pretty intense and strong. And then finally, is it true that I have pet ducks? I see this is from a friend or a neighbor. Yes, I have 2 pet ducks, Wilbur and Orville. And at some point, if we're doing this broadcast outside, you'll hear their quacking in the background. All right, let us move on. Actually, I've got some questions emailed to me. Mike in Seattle, he asked, what's the best time of the year to publish a book? And of course, I'm going to say there's no bad time to publish a book. But now this may be surprising. Okay, think of yourself. It's November. It's early December. All right, you're rushing around. You're trying to fill out your Christmas list. What the heck am I going to give Uncle Harry? What am I going to give my brother Mike? What am I going to do? I'm spending a lot of time focusing in on either events. Maybe I'll actually have a holiday party where we don't have to wear masks. You're really busy during that time of year. So you know what you don't have time for? You don't have time for browsing for new books. So I would almost say if you're introducing your books, if you're new to the marketplace, probably one of the worst times to launch your book is in that holiday selling period. Now, it's a great time later on, don't get me wrong, but for people to get noticed for their first time books, I would kind of shy away from October and November. Instead, I would say January, February, because guess what? The holiday is over. I got plenty of time to browse and think about some new reading material, or what's coming up here soon is the beach reading season. I don't know if you realize this, but there was a survey done a few years ago, and about $2.8 billion is spent on Christmas reading material, or reading material during the holiday season for gifts. Even more is spent for people who are going to the beach, going on that cruise ship, going up to the cabin. So, and especially this year when the world is loosening up and tourism is going to be, I'm sure, booming. And there'll be a lot of pent-up demand for people reading. Right now is a great time to release a book, especially in fiction areas. But really, there isn't a bad time. Just get it out there, get published. Every time you publish a book, you learn so much that your next publish is going to be better and better and better. And it goes on like that. So, like realtors say, location, location, location for books, for authors, especially self-published authors, it's inventory. It's showing that you have consistent, a good set of characters. You're really sort of mastering the trade. I know when I look for a brand new author, I'm going to look and see, can I invest more than just on my hard-earned money on just one book? Oh, they have a series of books. If I like the first one, I'm probably going to like the next 6 as well. So it's important to get that quantity up. All right. Second thing, Teresa in Eagle Point, Oregon. Oh, I know that place pretty well. Should I do an audiobook? Well, I happen to love audiobooks on the consuming side. I have a lot of them. I listen to them in cars, trying to go to sleep, things like that. But audiobooks is something that is still a tiny slice of the market. I know that if you read any of the self-publishing press, they say audiobooks are up by 60% this year or 40% last year. And that's all wonderful, but realize that means that the market share went from probably 4 to 4.5% or 4 to 5%. It's still a tiny slice of the market. And I know it's gotten a lot of attention. It is growing, but it's tough to get into. It's very expensive to produce them. The major players in the business, like Audible, they require that you have really strong recording quality. You can't just grab a microphone, go to your basement, read your book. It's got to have great production value, or Audible will not accept it. So that means you need to hire someone to probably read it. You need to hire a studio. So the investment in an audiobook can be quite extensive. My feeling is this: if you've done a great job in getting your printed books out there and your ebooks out there, and they're flying and you're doing a great job, then you know what? Sure. If your book is appropriate for an audiobook and you can afford it, absolutely. And there's some really good providers out there who can help you with that. Audible has some programs directly, but there's some other distributors out there like Findaway Voices, folks like that who we would recommend. But I would say that comes after doing a great ebook, doing a great printed book. All right. Okay, and finally this, what is BookBub? Bill in Miami asked that. So I would suggest everybody on this broadcast that you should right now, after we're all done, wait till we're done, Google bookbub.com. So BookBub was started about 6-7 years ago by a couple of kids in Cambridge. And they had the idea of, let's try to assemble a massive list of readers, okay? They did that. And now they have literally tens of millions of people who are on their list who get an email once a day offering them either free or discounted ebooks. By the way, this is all ebooks. This is not any printed books. And there are a number of companies like this. But BookBub is the biggest and by far the best, frankly, in terms of the success rate. Now you pay them a fee. And you pay them a different rate if it's going to be free, or if it's going to be 99 cents, or if it's going to be $1.99. This has been a great way for authors to launch their books out there. I hear a lot of success stories going for it. It's not cheap. I mean, we have a similar type of thing going with our own bookshop. We don't have nearly as many readers yet. That'll come soon. But it's a great way to get your book out there. Now they're highly selective of who is able to be part of a BookBub mailing. They do one mailing a day. You choose what genre that you want to read, and they respond. But they only take about maybe 13%. I saw the last number of all the books who were presented to them. You've got to have many 5-star reviews. You've got to have X amount of sales. So it's a goal to aspire to. But there are other companies besides BookBub that have, I would say, lower, hurdles that you have to jump over to be a part of their whole system. All right, I think that is probably what we have for today. I don't think I have any other comments, except our winner for our consultation is Marty Quick. So Marty, I will be in touch with you shortly, and we will get together and chat about your book projects. So with that, I want to thank you very much for your time. I know we were cut off the last time. We had construction going on next door, and I think I was about a third of the way through and our power went out. So thank you that the power company decided to keep power going, and we were able to get this broadcast in. So I will see you on April 16th. And as I say, if you want to be notified of our next event, sign up for our newsletter. We'll keep you folks informed. And signing off for now.